Okay. Hello, friend.
Hello.
All
We're
right.
gonna be
So,
laughing this whole time.
yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So it's like I'm more nervous with you than I would be with like probably like a stranger or something like that. But anyways, so welcome to Grandma's Hands Apothecary Podcast. This is a podcast that I just started that we're gonna be where we'll be telling stories and sharing different narratives and stories about just childhood memories of herbalism and connecting herbalism to our childhood, connecting herbalism to our memories of being with our family, being with our lineage, and connecting to our own lineage of herbalism. And so this is a podcast where there will be storytelling along the lines of just stories that we and memories that we have of like maybe even cooking in the kitchen and our own at home apothecary and the spices that we may have in our kitchen. Um, and just like the things that we couldn't learn in a class, like in an herbalism class, we could take all the classes we want to take, but this is a introduction to herbalism that is not just um, taught, but that has been lineage based and that has been passed down to us from our family members, from our friends, from the people that are our community that is surrounded by us. And so today we have a special guest. This is my twin. We call each other twins. Our birthdays are one day apart. And we are we have been friends since middle school. Um, we grew up um together in Appalachia, West Virginia, and so we have been we have learned some similar things about or some of the things that we've experienced as far as nature have been very similar and aligned. And so um this is a good friend who is a person that is very close to me. And so this is Azaleah. And I'm just gonna read some accolades and things that in her background and things that will really shape the context of this podcast and of this episode today. So Azaleah Hailey was born and raised in tiny Appalachia community of fewer than 100 people, where a deep connection to the land was simply a way of life. As the eldest of three, she grew up rooted in nature, faith, and reflection. Um, Values she carried with her into adulthood. Azaleah holds a degree in biomedical engineering from West Virginia University and minor in Chinese studies, which included studying abroad in National Cheng Kung University in Taiwan. During her time there, she also had the opportunity to explore the South Pacific Asian ecosystem, an experience that deepened her appreciation for biodiversity and the interconnectedness of all living things. Now, living in Buda, Texas, just outside of Austin, Azaleah and her husband, Evan, are raising their son, Gideon, with an intentional focus on exploration and curiosity, survival skills, outdoor living, and sustainability. Guided by her Christian faith, Azaleah seeks to live a life of stewardship, honoring God through how she tends to create and nurture those around her. Her story blends science, culture, spirituality, and reverence for the natural world into a thoughtful and grounded perspective. Um, on the podcast, Azaleah reflects on gardening, plants, and how our relationship with earth shapes who we are, how we grow, and how we love. So let me introduce you to none other than Zay, Azaleah. I call her Zay. My friend, my twin. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Hey.
I'm holding it in, but I'm super excited.
Like you could tell that we're twins, y'all too. Like you could tell,
Yeah.
like we got the like
The fit,
we've
the
been wearing glasses.
glasses.
How
Come
long have you been
on.
wearing glasses?
First grade, at least,
I've been wearing
that I
glasses
can remember.
since kindergarten.
Yeah, it might have been after
Like,
graduation. Threw them things on.
yeah, we are. Yeah, we are twins, y'all. We are we're
Yeah.
twins for real. Um, and
We
so
cannot see each other for months, years, and then
yes,
just
like we actually haven't
reconnect.
seen each other. Yes, we actually haven't seen each other for a while. Like we've been kind of like both living our lives, um, and just kind of like going through life and but also like staying connected. I feel like in some way, like we're all.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm always connected to you, like even if we're miles apart or if we haven't talked
Yeah.
or seen each other in so long. And I think the last time I saw you was during the pandemic. Was it during the
Yeah. When we
pandemic?
went when we went hiking, I
Or
think.
I mean, we're still kind of quote unquote in the pandemic, but like yeah, we went hiking
Yeah.
in the West Virginia mountains. I was living in Chicago and I came back um to stay with my parents because it was just like everything was shut down in Chicago, and so it was just better for me to come back home. And that was actually, I'm glad we're talking about this because that was actually a time
Yeah.
where I felt like I was really coming back to my body and coming back to nature. Like I really felt like, all those years, like I had moved to Chicago and like migrated to urban inner city. And,
Hmm.
most of my upbringing was in West Virginia. I was born in Baltimore, but most of my upbringing was in West Virginia. And I wanted to get out of West Virginia and like get out of the small town and like explore and do other things. And living in Chicago, like, so, like go, go, go and like uppity, and you don't really get a lot of the slow pace,
Hmm.
that you would get in West Virginia. And so when I came back, it was almost like a homecoming for me. Like I feel like it really allowed me to appreciate where I came from, my roots, and also the fact that West Virginia was one of the only places that wasn't in the red zone at the time. Like it was
Yeah.
actually like we could go to the store, we could, we didn't have to really like worry about all of the like, the precautions like we would in Chicago. Like Chicago at the time was like completely shut down. And for us, we
Hmm.
still had food, we still had, access to resources. And I credit that to West Virginia being one of the places that has preserved nature, like that has really preserved and taken care of the earth. And so yeah, at the time I had visited you and you were living like this like eco village, eco life in a cabin, growing your own
I
food.
was off the grid.
Yes, you were off the
Of
grid.
all the times that I could pick to live off the grid, in
Yeah.
the middle of the pandemic was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I remember like visiting you and you were in this cabin and like you had all kinds of things growing. Like you had like greens and green onions and tomatoes and like salad and like it was like all kind of things that was like and you were like it was like a greenhouse situation. Like you was like doing like I don't know your biomedical thing and like really just
It's so funny that you said that
mm,
because that was a time too where I feel like I was in a reset
mm,
with I graduated from college in 2019, that spring of 2019. And
mm,
so when I moved back home, I'm thinking like I'm gonna just go home. That way I'm not just wasting money paying rent in the college
mm,
town. And then while I'm at home, I can, find me a job and da
mm,
da da da. So I won't be here that long.
mm,
And then once everything just came into fruition about the pandemic and all of that starting and it just shut down, I'm like, well, now all of my plans are erased.
yeah,
But yeah, it was like, what do I do now? I didn't
mm,
really everything that I had in my mind that would happen
Mm.
obviously didn't play out. So
Mm.
once I started working with the kids, and like you said, something about West Virginia just allows you to pay attention to like what's in front of you, because I feel like we kind of lose that sometimes living in a city, or just being out in a busy place. Is
Mhm.
like everything that's in front of you gets missed because you're just bypassing it so quickly. You're like,
Mhm.
oh, I gotta go to work, or I have to, you got a set schedule planned and all that. But something that sometimes we kind of look at it, like looking back at the people that are still there, it's like, well, what are you guys doing?
Mhm.
you know and it was just a good balance. Sometimes you gotta have is still
Mhm.
have your plans, still have your goals, like I want to do, have
Mhm.
everything lined out, but also just take moments to breathe and rest sometimes.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I always feel like every time I went back home,
Mhm.
that's where I could think.
Mhm.
It's like I can think, I can reset, and
Mhm.
it's like I have a new direction.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just that's just every time I go home.
Mm.
That's what I get.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about like what you were doing back then? Like, it's I think this was like 2020. Was this 20
Hmm.
the end of 2019 maybe? And like so like what were you doing at that time like as far as your work?
Yeah. So I was working under Coda Mountain Academy, and it's led by Esther Morey and her husband Robert. But it's a nonprofit, and they've been open since uh, I don't want to mess up the year, but I'm saying '07, '05,
Okay.
'07 ish. Um, and we had known each other from years before, when she had the program at Sal's at the labor school in the community.
We're
But
gonna talk
I
about
had,
Sal's too.
yeah, we're gonna talk about Sal's, so don't worry. um, but um, I had joined a music program as a middle schooler at the time. So from middle school all the way up to the end of my college career, the only communication we've had was maybe a few likes on Facebook, like nothing extensive.
Hmm.
And so when I moved back in town, I honestly can't even remember how I got connected besides on Facebook just talking. And she just told me like, "Hey, we're gonna have these programs coming up," and I was just letting her know I was back at home for now. Just taking a break. I just finished school. Who knows what's about to happen? And then COVID hits, and so when it hits, I'm like, I'm not just gonna. I can't just sit here and do it.
Mm,
So I first started helping with the food.
mm,
So because of COVID, there was a lot of additional like federal funding
mm,
for to feed communities and whatnot. So
mhm,
Coda decided to be like a host for that, and they just needed the people. Well, I decided, well, I'm gonna go ahead and set up a site in Montgomery, because they had Fayetteville, and most people lived in Fayetteville, Oak Hill. Nobody really came down to Montgomery. Well,
mm,
Montgomery is where I really grew up at.
mhm,
So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna set up a site in Montgomery. We just kind of have to get the logistics together, and get volunteers. So luckily, we was able to get a few volunteers from that area, and then the church that I was going to at the time. Um, some other people came to help volunteer, and we ended up serving at least, we got to the point where we were giving out over 200 meals a day, like each time. So we would give out food 3 or 4 times a week at least.
Mm,
And I basically would like get up at like 4 in the morning, go to Oak Hill. We would cook. We would have to cook the entire day until the afternoon. And then from the afternoon, we would just load up all the cars and everyone would just disperse, you know?
mm,
So that was about 4 times a week. And I can tell you, we gave out thousands, not ten, maybe tens of thousands of meals at that time. And just in Montgomery, which they're,
mm,
if I gave you an idea of their population, I would say under 20,000 people in Montgomery. But
mhm,
just everyone that kind of came to me afterwards just to just give comments about it, they would say, without this, I would have never known there was a need like in our
mm,
community for food. Like we just didn't know.
mm,
And so just hearing that made me realize, it's you sometimes you just don't know until you kind of step out there and take the opportunity and do something with it, you know.
mhm,
They
mhm,
were rough days. I'm not they were rough days, but um the amount of people that you've met and you know helping people just in that time where everyone was really all hope was lost because you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. No one knew what was going to happen, but that was mainly what I dealt with was feeding and then also setting up um, summer camps for kids during COVID, which we kind of had to rewrite the whole script on that and coordinate how to accommodate the 6 foot rule and sanitizing and what do we. It was a lot, honestly,
mhm,
but we ended up building like an outdoor classroom at the time
mhm,
and was able to kind of incorporate that into their studies. So honestly, we were able to serve like double the amount of kids that we thought we were going to be able to hold just because of the rule, the 6 foot rule, and you could only have X amount of people in the building at one time. So we kind of played the game. It's like,
mhm.
well, we're not going to have them in the building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But
Mhm, mhm,
it was really good. It was just, they had fun, but they didn't know the impact that they had on my life at that time.
mm,
And just that uncertainty or like did I miss my opportunity, that kind of stuff was running in my mind because I'm like I didn't plan on doing this or being here, but once you see the product, of the time that you invested, it really changed my mind. Like, oh, it's about the people, it's about helping people. So
mm,
it was a blessing, honestly, to me.
mm,
And yeah, it really changed my perspective on a lot of things.
mm, mhm. So, like, what kinds of things were you teaching? Like, because you were doing like a whole, like, you taught how
We
to grow
we
food. You
had
taught like there was so
so
many
much.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know for our program, we always had the arts, music, art, choir, um, and robotics. And then we kind of extended that because we built the outdoor classroom. It gave us the ability to offer a few more electives. So we got to, I started a math tutoring for, I did middle or high school because in our area, for some reason, well, we know why, but there was a struggle with the math scores for the high schoolers. So I tutor math once a week, but we also got to start a reading. We added in just like an extensive reading because, in our area, they stopped doing that. When we were younger, we had the accelerated reading, even though
You sound like
we
old,
probably only did it for the Pizza Hut coupons, but
yeah. For sure.
but you don't realize what it, the benefit that it had on us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and kids now, they really struggle, like
Mm-hmm.
third, fourth, fifth grade, when I feel like we could read novel, chapter. We were reading chapter books at the time. It was really bad. so,
Mm-hmm.
so we had that, and we had a few. We did start a horticulture class. It
Mm-hmm.
was short, but the kids really enjoyed stuff like that. So we got them outside. That's the benefit, is just getting people back outside.
Mm-hmm.
Outdoors, you can learn, you can explore a lot. And all of our courses, even in math, science, reading, everything, we incorporated it with a physical component of some sort. So they either we went over Black history at that time. So a lot of the books, like, they read about Harriet Tubman, all the other they did Harriet Tubman, and a few other biographies, but we always would teach them something relatable to that, to whether it was with planting or with something outdoors that they can do, something physical, just to incorporate the two, to explore a little bit. So
Oh, yeah. Did you? I remember you had taken me to the school, and there was like outdoor, like, green. Were you doing like a greenhouse there or something? Was that just you, or was that like a project that all of y'all were doing? Like, what was that? I can't remember.
yeah, so we were building it,
Mm-hmm.
and then because we had, when we get back to Sal's
Yeah.
is the one that we took the most time in building, me personally.
Uh-huh.
But we were putting the greenhouse together so that once the structure was there, the kids could continue their horticulture
Mm-hmm.
classes, because they were learning how to compost at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of teaching them the basics. Like, this is how you can compost and make it out of just your normal day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you eat, your food scraps, all that, you don't have to throw it in the trash, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So we were teaching them how to do that, and just the basics with um, just a starter
Mm-hmm.
plant, just to transport it. We just had them transplanted in their little plots, and then just keep track of the growth process for like the
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks that they were there.
Mm-hmm.
So we kept it simple, but again, these are basic skills that the younger generation might not know about.
Yeah.
Usually they did. So,
Yeah. And I think that's what this podcast is about too, is like about remembering, because I feel like
hmm
we think that, I don't know, like when I look at farming courses or just like places, like even here in Thailand, there's a place, there's a few places where they teach, farming and things, and it's like I feel like a lot of the basics are things that we were taught at a young age, like, but with just like being in the garden with our grandmothers, or like, just like
hmm
simple things, but sometimes it seems more scientific or complicated than it has to,
yeah.
because we've had, I don't know, there's just so many like other sciences that they put to it.
hmm
But somebody was coming up here.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, I'm just like, this is like, like some of the classes I've been going to, my partner, she like, you just going there to learn simple farming? Like, I don't look at it like
Yeah.
simple,
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah,
we forget it.
yeah, we
We
forgot it.
live in you got technology. And I was talking with this to Evan yesterday.
Hmm.
Um, we were just talking about how our generation, we kind of have a mixture of both, good as far as when it comes to technology and practicality, like just skills in general,
Mhm.
because like Gen Z, they're much more intelligent, honestly,
Yeah.
but it's
In the
because
mind.
they've always had access
Mhm.
to any information. It's like right here in the palm of your hand.
Mhm.
Versus our generation, we were introduced to technology as a tool, but we still have the practical skill of going out and searching for the knowledge
Mm.
via library. Like we went to the library, you know,
Mhm.
we you had to go out and learn how to research
Mhm.
versus Gen Z, which they are more adaptable as far as knowing how knowing how to pull the information quickly. Like they can
Mhm.
search it and boom, it's right there.
Mhm.
So in general, they were able to adapt much faster than we were. But when it comes to removing, now you remove technology from the picture.
Mhm.
How do you solve the problem now? Like how do you survive? I think that's what
Mhm.
is the difference, especially when it comes to something like farming.
Mhm.
Because everyone that we learned it from, that was their survival method. Like that was their
Mhm.
Kroger's, that was their supermarket.
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's a part of their daily life
Yeah.
versus us on a much smaller scale. It's just a hobby, you know.
Yeah.
But at what point do we need to begin to like expand our knowledge
Mhm.
in the case that we want to learn how to survive off of
Yeah.
that skill again,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so that's what we just kind of try to get to the kids is learning, and I'm even doing that with Gideon now, is learning everything necessary to survive in the case that, you know, the easement is gone. It might not be there. I don't know.
Yeah. So speaking of like, you know, instilling that into your child, like, what are some just some things that like some memories that you would like to instill into your child as far as like growing food or just like nature in general and like what it means to
Mhm.
really survive off the land and work with the land. Yeah, what are some skills that you feel like you're instilling now like into your generation to come?
Yeah. I think that now as a parent, even though he's only 2 years old, that we just assume that they don't understand and they understand a lot more than you think. But a lot of that comes from allowing them to explore, you know. I think we our hand is a little too tight sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to something is dirty or like hygiene or I'm like this is a part of nature. This is a part of his environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I try right now, especially at his age, what would be most beneficial is sensory. So I try to do a lot of things that allow him to explore different textures, different smells, things that use his his senses, and to get also language because we're in that stage where he's developing language. So just talking through what everything is, what things are, what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like you're over explaining to him, but I feel like I have seen progress as far as him understanding like a process much better by over explaining it. And so something that we've been doing lately as I've been wanting to start my garden here in Central Texas because the environment is different and I'm not used to the desert climate yet. But the benefit of potting all of our plants right now is that he it's much more manageable for him.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
even just playing with soil and
Mm,
sand and
mm,
just filling water and then having him understand like this your plant you have to take care of it, you know, it
mhm.
has to be watered every night. So
Mhm.
now he every time before he goes to bed he's like, Mom, water, like he knows like we gotta go water the plants. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
right now I think that that's something that I'm trying to focus on with him.
Mhm.
But in the future, I would like to get to the point where not that I just teach him about how to garden or how to put it together, but more so I try and spark his interest in learning about the environment wherever he is, you know? So, like,
Mhm.
wherever you go, or whatever, new culture, group of people that you're around,
Mhm.
try your best to learn about it,
Mhm.
try your best to learn why they do what they do.
Mhm.
And even seeing that, I learned that in Taiwan, like, you know, in South Pacific Asia, it's much different. But
Mhm.
why did they do the practices that they do to take
Mhm.
care of their environment and, their ecosystem? And then you can bring those things back with you. So I
Yeah.
think that's really what I want to long term spark in him is the desire to learn more.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So, like, what do you think has been passed on from you that you feel like you have taken from like, maybe your mother or your grandmother or, your, grandparents or whatever that you feel um like are there similarities between like, some of the things that you feel like you're passing on to your generation as far as like your relationship with nature, with the earth? And like, how do you feel like you got those fundamental skills? Like, yeah. And I know we talked about just like growing up in West Virginia. It's like, you just like in itself is a thing. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I think people, even West Virginians, don't realize the deep, rich, ground that they walk on.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Appalachians are one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world. And I don't think people realize that. And our ecosystem is so diverse there. Like we have plateaus, we have valleys, we have hills. And then you know about the deep Cherokee and the Shawnee and the mounds, and we have just so much that is unique
Mm-hmm.
and an environment that really protects species that you're not going to see it anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it takes, learning that. And around the state, you have a lot of people who are dedicated to try and preserve that culture or that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at some point, it's just who's going to pick up, the mantle next. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's kind of, the issue that I see sometimes
Mm-hmm.
is I worry, will the information get lost at some point?
Mm-hmm.
But I think who really inspired me, honestly, my mom is very, even though she hasn't been to a lot of places,
Mm-hmm.
she's always instilled in us to try new things, like to find something that you like and kind of master it or kind of stick with it. So, and she's always been someone that's like not afraid to seek out something new or to kind of stand out. That's her thing. Like, how can, like, stand out in some way. But it's more so just exploring things that's around you. So even though she's not as big of an outdoor junkie as me, she noticed like that's something that I like, and she's like, okay, what what other element of that can you learn? Like explore it some more, you know? So I'm
Mhm.
like, sometimes it's just the encouragement of,
Um,
even if it's not, like I would like to be like that for Gideon one day, is he might like something that I'm really not interested in,
mhm.
but if I see that it's very, interesting to him and it sparks something in him to pursue it, and I'm like, go for it, you know?
Mhm.
I think that's what we need to do as parents, anyways. Um, is just be that encourager. That's how you raise, um, you know, the great people one day, the people who become the experts, the
Mhm.
30 to 40 years in doing something, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, I think, I mean, my whole community is, they're just country, you
Yeah.
know? Like, country is a thing. Like, it's hard
Listen,
to
y'all. Zay
pinpoint.
is okay. So I'm from Oak Hill. I'm from Harlem Heights. I'm from Oak Hill, which is rural West Virginia at its best as well. But Zay
Yeah,
is from the valley. I'm from on top of the hill. Zay is from like in
we are
the valley. Zay
deep in
is
there.
the valley.
Okay,
Something
Google
called
Maps
it's
can't find
called
us
we
yet.
call it the fort. It's called Beers Fort, West Virginia, and we call it the fort. It is to the point where you
One way
probably will
in,
not
one
get
way
cell
out.
phone service when you get there. Once you hit them that valley, you will not get cell phone service.
Hmm.
So it was just like always, we were always in like Zay. I remember like okay, now we getting into childhood or like our childhood growing up.
Yeah.
Like I remember like us being at Sal's. Sal's is a it's called Southern Appalachian Labor School, and this was a building in Bearsford where we would have summer programs. Like, we would have something called Energy Express, which is a reading program, and like it
Mhm.
was a curricular thing, but it was like just where everybody was going for the summer. Like we was
Yeah.
if you couldn't if you were too old to actually participate in the program, you was volunteering. If you was too old to volunteer, you was being a mentor.
Mentor. Yeah.
Just a mentor. And so, like, I remember, I don't know, I think we were volunteers and you was helping with the garden, of course. And, well, first of all, we'd be like, where is that at? Like, where is she at? Like, and you would just be out there in the garden with your
Sweating.
potatoes or whatever. And we was probably like, how old were we? We were like teenagers, I think. But
Yeah.
I remember
If that.
I remember one time you came back with your little pH like little paper or whatever, and you had gone to the creek and tested the water, like tested the water at the creek. And like you was like mixing even back then, like you was mixing your science brain with like, your relationship or just like you're just just being close to nature. And I remember like everybody knew that you was a genius, like like you was like always like the smart one. But like I remember, I think was my dad working there at that,
Hmm.
and my dad was like, what is they doing? Zay, like like we always go back to that, like, is they still testing the water? Like she always been smart.
Yeah.
Like and like I don't know what you were testing it for, but lead or whatever. But I don't know. It was just like I just always admire how you just always been, curious. Like you've always been like a researcher, like in that way. And like you
Hmm.
said, we have books, we have, things, and that's the same with herbalism. Like you have the books, you have like these definitions of these plants, and you have the classes, but like there's so much richness and so much life and just and information and just learning by exploring, by
Hmm.
just like going outside and just foraging, or just going outside and seeing what's around you, the abundance that's around you. And every day, like, whenever I'm feeling like I'm lacking, or like there's not enough, like, in material things,
Mhm.
the material is also, it's not just about money, but it's about resources. And so there's, material is like the food that grows on the trees, or the food
Mhm.
that comes from the ground, and that is all a part of the abundance that we all have. And every time I feel like I'm lacking, I go outside and I just walk around and I just like see like what's, especially here in Thailand, like, no, like nobody really goes hungry like that because there's so much abundance around us. And
Mhm.
um and people see it, people acknowledge it, and people see, pay reverence, and show reverence towards it. And I think that's why people are able to see that, oh, actually, like, we have water, like, we have food, we have the things that we need, and we don't need much more else. And so, like, yeah, I just like I I had to go back to that memory of just like here, like, just seeing you, like, just knowing that, like, I don't know, you've just always been a person that has been curious about like what's around you, and like what in sustainability. And like I think that's the heart of sustainability. We have all these, like, advocacy classes, or just like advocate, like sustainability, eco village, like whatever. But
Mhm.
we've been doing that, like, especially as Black folk, like we've been recycling, reusing, and
Yeah.
the three R's. Like we've been,
Yeah.
we don't waste. And I think those are some of the things that I've learned from my parents, and especially my grandmother child. Like, she
Yeah.
don't throw nothing away. Like, she,
Especially in that mountain, I'm telling you.
yes,
Because as soon as you said that, I was like, something that I have learned is, and especially at Sal's, is you learn how to do anything from nothing. You
yes,
know, you
mm-hmm,
don't have to have a lot. You don't have to have
yes.
all
Oh
the
my God.
necessary tools.
I remember when we were like, and the thing is, which is like something that I feel like we never really thought about like that. Like you said, when you went to Montgomery and you were serving food, you didn't realize how much there was a need for it, or they didn't realize how much it was a need for it, because like we just always felt like it wasn't like a big thing, like, like, oh, we don't
Yeah.
have this, we don't have that. It wasn't like this
Yeah. You just.
mindset of lack. It was just kind of like, but like I remember, I was gonna say one thing about West Virginia, rural West Virginia, is that everybody's poor. Like everybody
Hmm.
is quote unquote, you know in poverty. And but I when I went back in 2019, or 2020, when I went back to West Virginia, I realized like that wasn't really the case. Like it's there's so many resources in West Virginia that are just like that people be wishing to have. Like when I was in Chicago, like people wish that they had like a clear yard that they could grow food on, even though like
Hmm.
they do, like they may have like a little lot or something like that that they could like grow food on and stuff. But like, there's just so much it's so much infrastructure that comes into the city that there isn't really a lot of spaces now where you can really just like pick a piece of land and
Yeah.
grow food and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and even just like the stuff that they put into the dirt, and it coming up as pollution. And I just feel like, you know, I feel like even though West Virginia is seen as a impoverished state, or like even like just rural West Virginia is seen as impoverished, that's
Hmm.
not something that like I see it as now. Like I don't see it as like somewhere that is lacking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say comfortable.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I describe
Mm-hmm.
it now. Or in general, the culture of West Virginia is comfortable. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like there's not really a want for a lot more as long as they have the basics. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like they're satisfied with that. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't need any more change. We don't need,
Mm. Oh,
you
that
know.
too. Yeah.
We're comfortable and we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's where the new generation comes into where there is, um, newer ways of doing things, newer ways of farming, newer ways of like using certain technology to, grow food that isn't
Hmm.
like to the point where you're mass producing, but you are, you know, building other ways to grow food that aren't just like the old folk way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's where like, our generation or, Gen Z and like younger Gen Z generation can, come in and really offer some of that transformation as far as like, because the earth is changing, the like everything is changing too. And so yeah, I think there are newer ways of doing this too. And I think that's what we can offer
Hmm.
as well.
Hmm.
Um, so for a second, before we, I want to also talk about some of your experience, like not just in West Virginia, but like in other countries in Southeast Asia specifically. But
Hmm.
a question that I wanted to ask, or I asked you to bring a plant to the space. And so I wanted to talk about like what were some of the what was the plant that we brought and or herb or whatever, and
Hmm.
how is it supporting us right now? That's my question. How is it
Hmm.
supporting you? And you can go first.
Alrighty. This is my new darling here. I got this for Mother's Day.
Oh.
Yes. I'm trying to turn so it's really pretty. But this is a Guzmania,
Mhm.
and it's in the bromeliad family, so like pineapples and whatnot.
Mhm.
But it is native to like Central America and even down here in like Central Texas.
Mhm.
A lot of Mexico, southern Mexico, all the way down to like Brazil, South America. Um, that they grow. They're really popular there, but um, here a lot of people have them for house plants because they are low maintenance
Mhm.
and uh, they actually will die in direct sunlight. But
Mhm.
um, um, they're really a big part of like Central American heritage as far as really just their like vibrant colors and they're also symbolic in just their culture. But one reason why I really wanted this is because it helps to purify the air.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a air purifier.
Mhm.
So after I had like got COVID, I had pneumonia for about 3 months, I
Mhm.
think. And so since then, this was in 2022 when I got COVID. Yeah,
Mhm.
22 starting or 21 leading up to 22. So like Christmas of 21. So anyway, um, ever since then and throughout my pregnancy, I really struggled with my lung health
Mhm.
and my respiratory health and asthma and just being able to breathe in general. So like that's something I've been working on anyways.
Mhm.
Um, just trying to find different methods. Like I've been doing like mowing flower and things like that, just to improve my respiratory health. But I've been wanting to have more plants in the home that help naturally purify the air. So this is my first one.
Okay.
I'm learning how to take care of. I haven't named him yet. I don't know what his name's gonna be.
Nice. Okay, cool.
It's really pretty.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning like just how it's been supporting you and just like also like yeah, we just came out of smoky season here in Thailand, and so and I had some sinus issues too, and so like I've actually been doing like a herbal steam like with thyme and
Hmm.
peppermint and stuff. But yeah, so same like with the coughing.
Yeah.
But right now I have cocoa, I have cacao, and I am sipping on that, and it's just really like, regulating my system right now. We are in this new moon in Gemini and it's just like the Gemini is all about the mind, and so my brain is just and I'm a body person, and well, I'm a mind person too. I think a lot. I can overthink. So um I'm definitely like trying to get back into my body, especially because I've been on my cycle too, and so that's been helping support with my cycle. And so yeah, that's the plant that I brought to this space.
Yeah.
So
See, I need some more. So we're gonna be exploring soon. Once I figure out this weather
yeah,
and
for
how to deal
sure.
with it.
Is it
It's very
cold
dry,
there, or what's the weather there right now?
hot
I
and
mean, not
dry.
cold, child. Hot.
Honestly,
I mean, not cold. You're not in West Virginia.
yeah. Right now, I mean, the last few days we had quite a bit of humidity compared to the norm. Like 40% is pretty high. Like where we are, the average like yearly rainfall is like less than an inch.
Mm,
So it's very dry heat, and we're usually in like right now we're in a drought 3, level 3,
mm-hmm,
but we're usually somewhere between a level 4, maybe a level 5 if it gets like really bad, but
mm-hmm.
level 3, level 4 drought is usually where we stay. So yeah, right now I mean we're like 90, it's been like 96, 98 on the average, sometimes 100. And then in August, which is like super hot, it'll probably get to about 110, sometimes 115.
See?
It'll be really hot. Yeah. The sun, the UV is just insane.
Wow.
But um so yeah, it's just learning the soil, the humidity balance
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of my plants. And then, because right now my herbs, like I have some holy basil, I have like I planted some lettuce, but I have like I think out there I have right now rosemary I'm growing, um, some mint. Like in West Virginia, I could grow mint up the side of the house. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
But here's I have to just continually keep the moisture. It's
Yeah.
just really dry.
Yeah.
So
Well, y'all about to get some rain right soon, right? So
yeah, yeah.
rainy season here, but yeah, during the summertime you can't grow nothing. Like
Hmm.
this is planting season.
It'll rain and then it just dries up. It's like the
Wow.
ground just drinks it.
Wow.
Like it'll like flash flood, and it's like a few inches of rain, and give it an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, it's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay, well, I'm gonna be praying for some wait, so is it like um is that just like the culture there? Like is it getting worse, or is it just like that's just the culture?
When I first moved here, like within the first month, honestly, okay, I joined this Slack group. It was like an
Mhm.
Austin Women in Technology group. It's my initial plan, but they're like, hey, we know someone. She's looking for help on this sustainability project in Buda. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I can't pass this up.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting on this project for a few months, and her name is Lisa Hendrickson. But we were working on water conservation in Buda because in our area, it's not in our city of Buda, but the next city over,
Mm-hmm.
they have struggled with water shortages,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the summer. So that's kind of normal in our area.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the aquifers, they feed water back and forth through the surrounding cities, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of based off of a uh, um, you want to call it a levy, but they have a certain amount that they can feed to each place just based off of law at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so our city was basically trying to figure out different ways that we could both conserve and try to reduce like water waste in the area. And of course, when you have our area is very developed as far as the residential parts of it, so you
Mm-hmm.
have multiple different communities that might have hundreds of homes in them, and all the HOAs, will require your grass to look a certain way, or that's going to require watering it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if a lot of our water is going towards watering lawns, that's a lot of waste. And also, we have to look at the runoff water too.
Mm-hmm.
So, some things that we were just looking at, which is normal around here, a lot of people are trying to convert their yards into a more sustainable design,
Mm-hmm.
landscaping. Um, so they're looking at, like the a lot of like water, the rock gardens,
Mm-hmm.
and having more of desert, like drought resistant plants versus a lot of the lawn, like the landscaping, like the grass that they lay. So they were starting to switch that out with Bermuda grass and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Um, and then just looking at most people here in, like, usually in their backyard, or and even at the schools, they require it at all of the schools to have rainwater reservoirs.
Okay.
So all the schools have them, at least two large ones. You'll see them. But that's kind of, everyone is pretty um, aware, like sustainable, and they try to do what they can to, especially when it comes to water. Water is a big deal. So just reducing that is kind of the norm around here.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Don't be running that water now.
Yeah,
Wasting
yeah,
water. Whereas it's like in West Virginia, there's so much water. And then like here, there's we're in the mountains. It reminds me a lot of
hmm,
actually. And it's water is free. Um,
yeah,
and so it's like, yeah, you don't have to pay for water. Yeah, but I mean, we share it though. Like we have a collective water pump, and
yeah,
all of me and my neighbors slash in-laws share it
yeah.
there, and yeah,
It's very hard to get used to, like to go from
yeah,
just an issue like that.
yeah,
You really have to pay attention to things. Like there's a schedule. The
mm,
city will have a schedule and everything of
oh
like,
wow,
don't water your lawn. You can only water it Tuesday and Thursday from this time to this
oh
time.
wow,
So it's, yeah, it's
gotcha,
very strict.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but at least there's some sort of system to really like, yeah, for it to be sustainable, somewhat to help
Hmm.
with that. Um, I did want to talk a little bit about like some of your experience in like Southeast Asia. I remember like in college, like when you had studied abroad and went to Taiwan. Um, before I, before and then years later, I moved to Southeast Asia, and
Hmm.
before I was able to even visit. And so can you tell a little bit about like, just your experience and just like some of the ways that you were able to get back in touch with nature, or even just some of the things that you felt like you remembered um as touch base in Southeast Asia and in
Yeah.
yeah, in Taiwan. Because you were also
Yeah.
on the island too, right? Well, Taiwan is
Yeah.
island.
It I'm telling you, I every time I think about it, I'm like, I need to go back. But I did. I loved it. And I learned so much just from seeing how they live their daily lives. Because everyone in Taiwan, like, I was in Tainan, so it's the southern part of the island. You have a larger, more indigenous population still,
Mhm,
and it's much more, reserved. There's not, they are a big city, but it's not like Taipei, the main city up north. So, um, a lot of the IEs, the aunties, they didn't even speak Mandarin. Like they're like, your Mandarin is better than mine.
because
But
they're indigenous
most of them, yeah, they spoke
language.
Taiwanese, Hakka.
Mhm,
So it was definitely different. We got a richer experience, like a true experience versus some of the other classmates that went to the city. Um,
mhm,
but it was just in their daily lives, like when
mhm,
you get up and we would walk from our dorm to go to class. Like you would see the aunties, they're out there sitting on the sidewalk sorting through the recycling. Like they're sorting trash, literally.
mhm,
And so that was every day.
mhm,
And um, not only that, but just them training us on, like once you finish eating, this is how we separate things. Like all your food waste goes here, all
mhm,
your recyclable items go here. And that's mainly all there is.
mhm,
Um, and you just get used to it. It
mhm,
like becomes a part of your normal day at that point.
mhm,
uh, and they are very conscientious about keeping a clean environment and fighting climate change and
mhm.
pollution, because when you go out to the store, it might be like that in Thailand. Like, there's no plastic bags really. You gotta take your own. There, yeah,
You know what?
all that.
I wish I could say the same. But I mean, they use a lot of plastic here, and it's just like it really is. I wish that wasn't the case. But even with my partner, I'm like, I don't need like even with my partner's grandmother, I'm like, y'all be using so much plastic, and I don't know if
You know
it's
what
like
we do? We take the Kroger bags and you better
listen.
put those in
And
the
we put
cabinet.
them things like I have a whole system in our house now. Like it's like, and then I need to I'm having like things are just piling up in my house where all the reusable items are in one place, like the bottles, everything. Because
Hmm.
I hate throwing away plastic. But anyways, it's not as much of a culture here, and I'm not sure if that's because like there's like plastic isn't like the thing that they're worried about the most. Maybe I don't know, like
Hmm.
maybe there's other ways of other means of sustainability that they look more to, where
Hmm.
it's like as the US people or westerners, like we're like plastic, oh my god, plastic, which like if you stop using straws, that's not going to save the planet, but like
Right.
like, it's just an attempt to, but like it's not going to save this whole crisis. But
Yeah.
and so maybe like they're just like, well, but I do try to be more conscious. Actually, when I went to Malaysia, they were way more conscious about plastic and um yeah, using plastic bags when you go to the market and things like that. Like they were
Hmm.
way more like even when I took got takeout and stuff like that, like it was biodegradable everything, and so I appreciated that. But yeah, here, child, I don't know, child. Like they be using plastic for everything. But anyway,
Yeah, like you always, it makes me remember. I mean, I do it now because
mm,
it's become more popular now in the
mhm,
United States. But when
yeah,
you go out, like have your bags ready,
yeah, that was just
and
natural for us. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, hmm,
Like I'm taking my bags to the store so I can just
yeah,
bag it as I go.
yeah.
It's more of a convenience thing now,
Mhm,
but yeah, like over there,
mm,
everybody. I think because you know how it is sometimes in certain places in the US, it's like there's rules there to try and help,
mm,
guide those efforts, but most people,
mhm,
unless you're in a city that is more conscious about it, like
mhm,
they're not gonna follow it. So,
yeah,
but when I was there, just to see everybody, like, hey, we're all pitching in to do what we need to do to make sure like our environment stays clean. You're just like, wow,
mhm, yeah,
there's some conviction,
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I do feel that way about just certain things, like certain other resources other than the
the
not
plastic
using as
straws.
plastic, but I do feel that way just about electricity, about water, things like that. Like other Thai people, they will take whatever material they have and build a house with it. They will literally my partner's aunt like built a new house, took the roof from the old house, put that on the new house, and wasn't trying to wait because she wasn't trying to waste the new roof on the old house, didn't match the color and nothing like that.
Hmm.
Like use those materials. We call it tie tacky, and that may seem a little bit problematic, but we call it tie tacky because they will put the towels on the ground and it'll be mismatched towels and everything because they don't let
Yeah.
that type of stuff go to waste, and they'll use that. And so there are other ways that I'm like, I've had to learn to like, okay, everything can't match, I guess, or like everything's not gonna
Hmm.
be aesthetically pleasing or, whatever. But yeah, so I have learned, like I've been more conscientious since being here, about
Yeah.
things like that.
I even saw it. So once I went to Kaohsiung, it's
Hmm.
further down from Tainan. Then we rode the boat over to Xiaoliuqiu.
Hmm.
That's the little. You already know Taiwan is like this,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
then Xiaoliuqiu is just a little tiny, just speck at the
Hmm.
bottom.
Hmm.
But when I tell you the most beautiful place
Hmm.
I've ever seen in my life,
Hmm.
and we got to go scuba diving because they're known for the big sea turtles everywhere.
Mm, okay.
And so they got sea turtles and the coral reefs. So
Hmm.
I know because it's like a high tourist area too now. I know they're trying to fight um, more so like a preservation and
Mm,
have restrictions just to protect the reef and the sea turtles as well. Because
mhm,
like when we went there, we had to like go through a class
mhm,
before we actually went scuba diving that explained,
mm,
like this is the rich culture here, but we're trying to protect our environment, trying to protect the animals,
mm,
and it was just really nice to see you. You
mm,
became a part of it because like we got to go do some beach cleanup,
mm,
and
mhm,
stuff like that. So I think like different tactics. I don't want to call them tactics, but I mean they are. Is when tourists and stuff come to a place, that's how they can play their part as well.
mhm,
So I thought that was really smart. I was like,
mhm.
I've never.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
like we
really
gonna put y'all
cool.
to work while y'all here.
Yeah,
We gonna
yeah.
put
Like
y'all to
you're
work.
free to roam the island.
Right.
You can look around, but you're
Mm,
gonna clean up after yourself.
okay. Period.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
So that was good. I was like, that's good right there.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm telling you, I'm like, when I came back over here, and I just once I finally got over the like I don't know the culture shock again of being back home,
Yeah.
um, I just like it made me think of just everything that I like seen and witnessed, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
the people there were much more. They were much more healthier. In general, everything was just more enjoyable. It's like because everybody cared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
like when we were going hiking up Ali Shan Mountain. It's a famous mountain over there. We
Mm-hmm.
went hiking up the mountain, and I'm like, there's like 87-year-olds. They're just
Mm-hmm.
doing their thing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Like, oh my God. Like, yes. When I went to Hitler Night in the village with the indigenous tribe,
Hmm.
we hiked, it was a 4 hour hike, 2 hours going and 2 hours back. And yeah, it was like people, they like you said, older people, like because they do it every day. And so like we
Hmm.
went to the field and I'm like, ugh, like I'm like, what is this? Like this is but yeah, they do it every single
Yeah.
day. And yeah, it's like nothing.
Yeah, so like when everybody here talks about what do we need to do about,
Mm,
global warming and the climate change,
I
and
was just gonna ask you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's the key.
Mm,
If we commit to these practices every day, it's going to become a part of
mm,
our daily habit. It's a lifestyle at that point,
mm,
But
yeah.
who's going to enforce it? That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to care enough to enforce it? It's got to be universal. It can't just be we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it here, in Washington State, and
Mm-hmm.
in North and South Dakota, all these other places that care. Like you have to enforce it all over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was gonna ask you, like, as like to wrap this all up, like, um, you know, what are some things that you wish for as far as our future and how we are taking care of the earth? And I love how you talked about like globe or sustainability and sustainability practices and um you know even just like uh consciousness around the environment consciousness and stuff, like it being a practice and not just a project because I think we see it as
Yeah.
a project or like something that we have to that is going to be done if we do this and this, but it is a practice.
Hmm.
And it is also not just a mind practice, but it is a bodily practice, I believe, like how we treat ourselves, how we treat each other. We are all part of this ecosystem. We are all part of, you know, we can't breathe without the oxygen that comes from trees. Like we can't,
Hmm.
like we are coexisting with each other. So like, how would you, um, what do you hope and what do you imagine for like all of us living in this ecosystem together and how we can care for it better, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest with you, I've kind of been, I guess, just going through. It's been a part of like my study, but just going through understanding the truth and things that maybe I didn't see before or was never taught, I guess. But and honestly, it brought me back to the garden, like originally,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, I've never been asked this question, and I never have asked this question. But I'm like, why would God put us in a garden? Of all the places
Mm-hmm.
He could have built, you know, it could have been a house, it could have been anything. Um, but why was it a garden?
Hmm.
Like, what was his vision for us to be in a garden?
Hmm.
And I think I'm still coming to some realizations about that, but just some things that I've been getting as I've been working through a lot of my personal, healing and things of that nature is that if at the very beginning of it all, the place where our relationship was perfect was there in the garden where we had, there was no sickness, there was no, pain, there was no violence, there was no disease, there was no none
Hmm.
of that. And the only job that we had at that time was to take care of the earth, to name the animals, to be fruitful and to multiply. Not just with children, but in all ways.
Hmm. Hmm.
He said to be curious, to explore. So I'm like,
Hmm.
that really freed me in a way where I didn't feel like um, wanting that again was a bad thing in a sense. Because I think sometimes when we look at the future, we kind of, there's a little bit of shame in a sense because it's like there's at some point, like there's nothing I can do to make sure that it happens, to make sure like the good thing comes, you know,
Yeah, you
as
can't
much as you
save
want
the
it to.
world. You can't
Yeah,
save.
like the little effort that I do, how much of a, that question in your mind is like, how much of a difference is this really going to make
Yeah.
out of the whole pie, you know?
Hmm.
But I always, like recently, I've always kind of came back to that thought is um, back to that place where everything was where it's how it was supposed to be, you know?
Hmm.
And so just honestly, just kind of breaking apart and thinking through creation and
Hmm.
realizing, a lot of when it comes to gardening, when it comes to our ecosystem, everything has a generation built in its DNA. Everything had their seeds for a reason.
Hmm.
And so our part is only to plant them and to water them.
Mm.
That's our part. Plant them and water them.
Yeah. And then whatever happens from there, I guess. Yeah.
It's out of, and I think that understanding, it freed, is very freeing because it will allow you to keep planting and keep watering because you're not sitting here waiting to see. It's like, oh, I gotta do a little bit more, a little more to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that it fully germinates, that it fully matures. It's gonna happen on its own. So
Mm-hmm.
while that's there, as long as I plant and I water, I
Mm-hmm.
can keep moving on. I'm gonna keep planting and watering and keep planting and
Mm-hmm.
watering in this life. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my thought. That's where I am right now as far as what the future is I have to continue to plant and to water into people,
Mm-hmm.
into those around me. You know, everything was built off a relationship. Our
Mm-hmm.
relationship with God, our relationship with each other, our relationship to the world around us. Like He put us there to enjoy it. That's why we were originally there, is to enjoy it. And so I think now, I mean, now of course that I have a son, like of course that's one person that
Mm-hmm.
that I can water, that I can pour into.
Mhm.
But being intentional, if we can be intentional about doing that to the people that have been placed in our own personal ecosystem,
Mhm.
looking at our lives as the garden,
Mhm.
then our understanding, our life path, like our vision, our journey, all of that will be rearranged and
Mhm.
is focused to where the focal point it should align up to where it's supposed to be. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, that's kind of a lot, but that's just right now, like that's just where my mind
Yeah.
is looking at the right now. What am I, how intentional am I, are we with the people who have actually been placed in our garden?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then do we do we do what it takes to nurture those relationships the way that we're supposed to? Because it takes a lot of, it's labor. It takes intentionality, vulnerability. Like these are all the things that you learn. Patience. If anyone that has been in a garden, if anyone knows what it's like to see something go from seeds to harvest, it is patience and time invested
Mhm.
and healing sometimes. I'm like looking at this guy, I'm like, oh no, like I'm looking like, what am I gonna do about this?
Mhm.
But there's healing too, you know? I'm like,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that it has to get cut off, but there's
Mhm.
healing that happens.
Mhm.
And so that's that's what I want. That's what I want for myself for the future. That's what I want to kind of instill in my family is being intentional gardeners. That's what I want to see, and I feel like if we do that for the next generation of people, you know, we will we will definitely um, counteract all of the negativity that you hear. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Like what I got from that was just like be present and to just be and to like do what it is that you're feeling called and just like, what you feel is the now. Like and that will shape our future. Like that will shape
hmm
intention behind the now will shape, our future. And yeah, and it's like we can't save the world. We can't, stop global warming like with just us. Like it's just,
yeah,
that's not in our control. And so but what we can do is, you know, like share information with each other and plant and like you said, pour into each other and share our knowledge with each other. And also like just be present, you know,
hmm
and that will help with the future.
yeah. Love, 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 love.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
So
being a part of
awesome.
this. Like, yes, this is so cool because I feel like, yeah, you're my twin and also like, I feel like we both had similar experiences with how nature has shaped us and how even just like simple things like herbalism and growing food and things have really like been a part of our upbringing.
hmm
And so I just really appreciate this conversation and just like us reconnecting, like
Yes.
post like child and like all the things, and just like, really. going back down memory lane and all the things. So thank you so
We
much.
could go on and on
I
about
know.
that.
So many memories. Oh man. All right, well, I guess like this is the end, and I will talk to you soon. Hold on. All right, peace, y'all.